Hello and welcome to Reiki Studio. My name is Kathy Milanowski and I'm your host and a panelist tonight. Reiki Studio was created by me to empower your light journey, no matter where you're at or what you're doing, to empower it so you could be brighter and it could be contagious and other people can be brighter. Today, we're going to have on our panelists is Karen Kaig and Rhonda Hart, and we're celebrating the sacral area, chakra. Our chakras we're working on our segments of, these are the 7 major generators. And what a chakra is just think of it as like a generator. It empowers you and it connects with you in your physical being, your mental being, your emotional being, your sexual being, your spiritual being, all these beings, and it helps regulate it. So each chakra is governed in a certain area and it helps that area function. So all the skin around that area, all the, the organs, everything. It's just this marvelous little generator that does everything for us. And so we go into it a little deeper and go in and see how to work with our chakras, to educate ourselves, to grow with it, to develop a better relationship of trust, like trust of your sexual being, of your own opinions and your own ideals and everything. That's the sacral area. The sacral area houses sensuality. So that means all of our senses, our sight, our smells, what we hear, just everything, what we feel, it's our sensual area. It governs that area and it just is a marvelous thing. It also helps us connect with creation. How do we create things? How do we explore things? How do we dive deeper into things? How do we use our artistical part of ourselves, our feminine part? How do we bring this in and develop it and create and bring it outward? This center helps us in so many different ways and so many different levels. And we need to heal on these, on different aspects, even healing the relationship of it. Maybe you didn't have any trauma. Maybe it's just voicing your positiveness of your sacral area. When we live in our cultures, each area I've learned in the United States has their own even culture. So as a whole in the United States and other different countries, you'll see how people express themselves differently, but we're all one. So we all could connect and express ourselves any way we want, as long as we're not hurting somebody else, right? So this is where we are, and this is where we're going to dive into. And that's what I hope you get out of this segment, is that you get a little bit of more understanding of your beautiful creativeness, how you can explore it and develop it and produce it and share it with somebody else. Or something else, a tree, a dog, a cat. Karen has her kitty with her, She opened up and her kitty's like, I want some love. It's a way of showing and just demonstrating it's your creativeness, whatever it is, So I'm hoping that will help you out and you're able to work with that a little bit. The sacral area has 6 petals to it. We're going to show you. You saw some diagrams in the beginning. It's a circle with a crescent. The symbol is Vang, V-A-N-G. And Karen Kaig is actually going to explore this with us a little deeper. The vowel sounds is O, O, O. We do these sounds and we go inward and work with this. It will open the center out. In which ways? It's how you process that, So the endocrine system, the ovaries, the testicles, that's where it governs. Physical associations, the womb, the genitals, the kidneys, the bladder. Psychological functions is movement and connection. All about connection. This is where connection works. All the important little things are in there. As Reiki masters, we learn how to do the attunement process and a breath process and a couple inches underneath the navel is a special little area. All these beautiful things. It's about connection. Identity, it's emotional. Element is water, right? And challenge is guilt. And the right is to feel and to want. It's okay to feel at all different levels. No one should make fun of you. It's okay to want to connect and want, And so we'll go over the herbs and incense and things like that with my other lovely ladies and everything like that. Here's some things about your second chakra so you can think about. What is attracted to you? What repels you? How does it guide the way you live your life? Okay. How attractive do you feel? Are you confident about your self-image, or do you doubt yourself? Do you feel ruled by your emotions, or are you emotionally aware of your consciousness and how you do things? Do you enjoy each experience through healthy moderation and self-balance, or do you overexceed everything? And these are horrible things, but you could work with this and bring harmony, and that's where you would see the shift of what's going on. I'm a very intense person. I like intensity. Well, there's a balance to that even too. And the obsessionness. You can work with tools with this. We're going to show you these things. Can you balance passion and personal discipline? Do you feel expressed in your passion in your life? Are you expressive in your life with your passion? It doesn't have to be sexual. So, passion is part of us. And when you roll up passion, how do you do it? I dance. I open myself up, and then I connect. And then I bring that energy up into my whole being. And so that's kind of how I work with that, myself personally. Do you feel, let me see here. I got my little list here, my little cheat sheet. Are you feeling alive most of the time, or do you feel dull? Right? And we do feel those sometimes. But what will uplift us? What will bring joy? Joy is about the sacral chakra, bringing in joy, bringing in this beautiful light, right? And let it soar into your heart, right? Children, young children have lots of joy, lots of passion, lots of creativeness, a lot of expression, right? We say, calm down on that expression. Let them go. See how they are. You know what I mean? They like to talk. You talk about it. They love to talk, So laughter, embody passion and trust. Trust yourself. Trust your passionate self. We are so much always as a society saying, hush it down, or passion sexual, things like that. And it's not always that way. Yes, it can combine and be beautiful too. So, emotional overacting. Is it from distrust? Is it from resentment or fear or antisocial contact? Right? So, these things, codependency is a sacral imbalance. So you want to say, okay, I feel codependent on something or a partner or whatever it is. What can help harmonize this? So you could balance this out and everything will be okay. You're working on it. I'm not picking on these things because I work with them all the time. You want to enjoy life. That's what it's all about. As Reiki practitioners, that help. It works with us with this. You know what I mean? It helps harmonize this. Everybody probably could give you a Reiki story about their sacral chakra, and working on this and doing little steps and things like that and saying, oh, I'm working on that. So all these little things really try to help us and cultivate our sacral energy. All right. So if you have an imbalance or you feel like, oh boy, I'm pretty, she pretty hit me right on the spot there. What can I do? So that's what we're going to talk about. And that in the last session too, that's what we're going to talk about and help you with. Is it a magical thing? Just like Reiki, you have to apply it daily or amount of time, and it works softly and shifts whatever needs to happen and brings balance into it, or gives you what you need to bring it in balance. Sometimes you got to put it up there, right? So that's just a little bit ideas. And then I have one more thing before I let you out with a panelist. So our darling Vicky couldn't come, and she was on a beautiful trip into Arizona. She doesn't get to travel much, so this was a big thing. And so she's just really busy with work and stuff. But she said she would like to come back and show her beautiful grids and things like that, and her altar piece. And so with this altar piece, I wanted to go over a couple things that I actually put together for us. And as I was working with this altar piece, I started adding to it and adding to it and added to it and added to it. And so I am a grid lady. So I do grids. I love grids, and I just think they empower everything. And so because they empower everything, if I want something to work on with myself, I want to give attention to my sacral area, I'm going to make a grid for it. Right. And so this right here is, oh, I feel it. It's very, very, very much buzzing right now. And so what I made was a 12-point grid on this side here. And then I made one within another. And I charged it up. This is a Metatron cube, and it's easy to use with the little formations and stuff like that. And so I started up this grid, and I let it talk to me for a while. And then it said to me, you need to add the elements, Kathy. You need to add the elements. You need to work with the elements to bring up this grid. And so that's what I did. I actually started bringing it up, and my intention is our inner child and that connection. Is it we need to heal with their inner child, or just let it explode out like we were for again, you know? And so with this grid building development, that was what it was for. And so we go for the directions, and we're going to work with north, south, east, and west directions. So each part is north, south, east, and west. Okay. And so with these said, what we're going to do is north is earth. Earth represents the new moon, the winter time, and midnight. Our natural magic, our crystals and our plants, our nutrition, our grounding, and our stabilizing. I mean, we could go on with. And so I actually grew these. These are my sprouts that I grew, and I put Reiki in them. And so it wanted to represent that. Along with that is that I brought some cards out. They wanted to come out, and these are Carolyn Meiss's cards and our archetype cards. And so I asked why I'm working with this direction. What can help me with this? And it's actually the healer. Passion through service, through others, repairing body, mind, and spirit. Ability to help transform pain healing. So there it is. Okay. So this might connect with you. Hopefully you can see it a little bit. And so the healing, me doing service, me doing this right now, will work on my sacral area. Guarantee the energy's there. We're bringing the energy out. So it's definitely going through. So that's my north direction. My east direction is air. And so I lighted up some sage before when we were start clearing and stuff. So I'll light it up again. Bring my little guy out there. And it will be the air. And this represents air. And the east direction, that's the waxing moon, spring, sunrise, purifying my path and making way for more flow. Right? Bring that in. And so the south direction is fire. As you see it, it might be like a little bright, but there's a candle right there, and it's an orange candle. It actually says compassion on it. So maybe we need a little bit more compassion.
Kathy,
yeah.
What was the east card?
I'm going to go to the east. I'm just going around. I'll tell you.
Oh, I thought you were going to do the card each time. I'm sorry. I was like,
oh, I did. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, see, look at that. Thank you so much.
yeah, I was like, I'm
So
like,
the
what's
east direction. So the air, the waxing moon, spring, sunrise, purifying my path and making more flow. How can I do this? And it came in the slave card, surrounding your power of choice to divine with complete trust. Okay. It's not a slave to your environment. It's giving complete trust. I get that. Complete trust. So what does this mean is that the energy was coming in through the archetype cards for me to help us flow with this path and the grid. And so that's what the whole intention is. Thank you, Karen. So the next one is my south direction. That's fire, full moon, summer, noon. The flame is in within us with movement, flow, and passion, sense of sensuality and connection. So what is going on with this? And it says through that, I got the card. It says vampire. Makes you aware that someone or something is draining your life force. Okay, so I'm going to show it to you. So the fire within. So it could mean a lot of different things. When I first seen the card, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Is I'm allowing something to come out, you know, other people to take too much of my energy or too much of my time or too much. So I need to work on maybe developing with my direction of the north, of the south, is to bring that fire within. Cultivate that fire within, you know, don't put it out so much. Bring it in, bring that flow in, bring that fire in. It's gonna fuel me. It's gonna stir me up and make that passion come alive. All right. So, you know, that's where it comes to me. You could channel what you need to do. I'm not going to tell you what you need to do within the west direction. Came to me right away. This beautiful hippopotamus started the grid, and that's why we ending on him, even though it's not the right flow. And I actually made a little grid with him with turquoise and citrine, because citrine always connects and always clears consistently. The hippopotamus gave us a message, okay? And the totem, so I'm very connected to totems because I trust them. So divine is coming through me through totems to say, hey, this is what we're working with you with the water. Okay, so the west direction's water, it's morning, moon, autumn, sunset. Okay, so pretty. So the hippo derives all from strength from his knowing, connection that is alive in the waters. Hippopotamuses teaches that the knowing connection that gives spiritual nourishment, substance, and growth. How perfect is that not for our sacral area, right? So with all this going on, we got the trickster card. Look at this guy. Yeah. So it says light attribute, transcending convention, stiffness, and predictable behavior. So this tells me with my emotions, with my water, with my stuff, I need to be more creative. I need to get this going. I need to get this going, and I need to get going on, and I need to be creative because it's going to help me. Spirit is going to help me with this. You know, it doesn't always have to be like a negative thing because Spirit's helping me. Why would it be negative? That just would not make sense to me. It's never been in my flow to feel that way. So with this all together, hopefully we bring in this energy as we start as the healer, giving a little in service to bring everything back in, to start our healing process, to give, to trust fully into our air and our movements, to go within our flame, right? To go within our flame and stir that passion. And then be creative with our flow, with our emotions, with everything that connects it to it. So there we go. So welcome to my grid. That's how I do grids. I work on it and form it and see what it is. And it's casted to everybody that is watching us. That everybody, anybody's heart that wants to be connected to the grid, they can. All right. So thank you so very much. And our next speaker is Miss Rhonda. And she is going to be talking about a whole bunch of different things, about postures and just good things to eat. Thank you, Rhonda, for joining us.
Thank you. What is great about the Sacral Chakra is that it can spark the imagination and creativity. And so part of that would be things that will help open up and keep the Sacral Chakra balanced. And we are talking about a lot of different ways that you can do that. And one of the great ways is yoga. And you need to be creative and have imagination how you do your balance and do the pose. And that can help with your Sacral Chakra. And Kathy, can you put that up on the screen? The one pose that I really like is, because there's actually a couple of different ways to do it, is the goddess pose. And that is the first one that's on the top left. And you can either do it with your arms straight out like that, in that pose, or you could actually do it like this, where you're in that pose with your body and your legs, but so you could, either way, it's still considered a goddess pose, but that you can really feel it when you do that pose, that it really, you can feel it directly in your Sacral Chakra. So that's an amazing pose to really help open that up and balance it. And then the reverse warrior is a nice pose as well. And I think that one, it may be a little easier if you're not, just depending on where you're at with yoga. Some people are brand new and some people are intermediate, and some people may do yoga on a regular basis and very versed at the various poses. But they also have like the triangle pose. There was one that's called a board or bound angle pose, and it's funny because I sit like that all the time, and that's just something that comes natural to me. But it's just really nice because you can do the wide angle seated forward bend, the reclined thunderback pose. I'm going to assume that one is definitely for an advanced Reiki, because I know I'm a little out of shape right now, and I don't think I could bend backwards like that. But I really enjoy Reiki, and it's almost like a form of meditation when you're doing the poses and you're trying to hold them, and you can, like I said, in these poses, you can really feel that in your Sacral Chakra, and you're just the stillness of it in your mind. It's almost like the few minutes that you're doing that, it's almost like a little meditation each time in between each pose. So that can be extremely helpful. But it's your creativity of keeping your balance and your imagination of how, because there are different poses that are like where you pretend to be a tree. So you're using your imagination of how you feel like you're being a tree. And that's just one example of how yoga can really help with the different chakras. And these poses really help with the sacral chakras, and there are a large variety of ones that you can do. But the two main ones that really help are the goddess pose and the reverse warrior. And I think those are my favorite two out of these. Another thing that really helps with the sacral chakra is the foods that we talked about in the part 1 of this. And so there were a variety of like oranges or turmeric or just anything that's orange, green, orange peppers. And one of my favorites was the butternut squash. I'm a huge squash person. I love squash. And so I had found a recipe for butternut squash, and orange is very identifiable with that. And that's why I went over like crystals that would do it in the part 1. And so, Kathy, if you can put up the butternut squash.
Give me a minute. I'll put it up for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it.
Oh, I was going to ask, are you going to put that recipe in the event?
Yeah, I'm
so
going.
That
I'm going to try.
Okay, good. I might try to cook it. It sounds good.
While she's doing that, I wanted to talk again, just to touch base again about how I ran across that there are teas that you can actually drink for each chakra. And just to remind everybody, calendula and hibiscus are great ones for the sacral chakra. And I love tea. So it's always a really good one that you can drink. But here we go. Here we have the.
There we go. I'm writing it down. I'm working it. There you go, darling.
There we go. Here's the butternut squash recipe. And you could use a large butternut squash, approximately 3 pounds, half vertically, and seeds removed. Just 1 tablespoon of olive oil, plus a little more for drizzle, half a cup of chopped shallots, and that is approximately about 1 large shallot bulb, a teaspoon of salt. I would prefer sea salt. 4 garlic cloves, pressed and minced, a teaspoon of maple syrup, which I love our locally grown maple syrup, and it's that time of the year to actually get some homemade maple syrup, so it's a great time to make the butternut squash soup. And then you can also use a 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg, freshly ground pepper to taste, 3 to 4 cups of vegetable broth as needed, and 1 to 2 teaspoons of butter to taste. And it just explains to you and how to cook that, and how to the progress of how to make the soup and stuff like that. And just the orange food is just really good to nourish and keep the sacral chakra balanced. And so that was just something that we had discussed, and I wanted to share this time, since we had went over the different foods that you could eat that would help with that. So thank you, Kathy.
You're so welcome. Let me get myself together. And yes, Dawn, I will send the pictures in a minute to you guys, so you guys could see those. They wanted the yoga poses, Rhonda. And so I have the bigger ones. I put them all together in that one. So I'll put the bigger ones out there. If I don't get a chance to right now, I will do it in a minute. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Next is Miss Karen. She is going to talk. She's our oil expert. I just love her. I love her videos. I love her live feeds that she does on her site on Facebook. She is so funny and she's so loving. Who else could represent the sacral then Karen. Thanks, Karen.
Oh, thanks. I've done a lot of work on the sacral. I think it's so funny that the trickster came up because in the cards, because the trickster is really the inner child. So as Reiki practitioners, I don't know about you guys, but I seem to draw people to me, clients to me that have the same problems that I have or have worked through or am still working through. And I have done a lot of work on the sacral chakra because I find, well, I don't think does anybody really grow up with a happy childhood? No, I don't think so. So I think we all have those issues that we have to deal with. So anyway, so essential oils, I came to essential oils at the same time I came to Reiki, and they really go hand in hand for me. So that's why I wanted to share with you is, I don't want to bore you to death, but like just the basics of like, how do you use essential oils? And first I should say, it's important, not everybody knows this, it's important to choose your essential oil company very carefully because, like, for example, don't just go to Walmart and buy the essential oil off the shelf. Most people don't know that there are 4 different grades of essential oils. And so what I'm talking about grade A, top grade, meaning that I prefer Young Living. There's some other companies that grow their own plant material or have partner farms. So I like to use oils where I could go to the farm and roll around in their plants. I like Young Living because they talk to their plants. They play their seedlings. They play the music in the greenhouses. I've been to the farm in Utah, and they're as nutty about plants as I am. So it's important. It makes a difference in the quality of the oil that you get, the soil that it's grown in, the temperature that it's distilled at. So you want top grade. Underneath that would be oils that they may have had pesticides or herbicides sprayed around them. They may not be first distillation. That makes a difference in the quality of the oil. So you put all the plant material into a big distilling vat with water and you distill it, and first distillation is the strongest. But if you want to make more money, you just put some more water and boil it some more. You can do that up to 4 times. So what you buy may be like 4th distillation. So that makes a difference. And then you have perfume grade, which again, they may have pesticides. They may have chemicals you don't want. Sometimes they will put a solvent called hexane into the plant material to draw more of the oil out, but unfortunately some of the hexane ends up in the oil. So anyway, just be careful of the oil that you buy. So the oils I'm talking about that I use for sacral chakra are high quality oils. Okay, 3 ways you can use them. So you have the French way, the German way, and the English way. The French like to ingest their oils. Those French people are like, yes, I want to put this in my food. As I was looking at that butternut squash recipe, I thought, hey, one of the oils is cardamom. I bet you could put some cardamom in there if you wanted to. So the French, because they use high quality oils, they'll eat them. I, however, would not recommend eating most oils, even the high quality oils. I would use, guess which one is really good for the sacral chakra? A single. Ba, ba, ba. Orange. Did you notice that Kathy and I are both wearing orange? Because that resonates with the sacral chakra. Now, orange oil, actually we label our bottles differently. I should be holding up the white bottle. It's the exact same oil. We just have to label them differently because of the FDA requirements. But orange, put it in your iced tea, put it in your water. Now, and that's one way that you can ingest it, and it's good. It helps keep it in balance. So I like to put it in my iced tea, but I like that. Another one that I will ingest, you may or may not have heard of, it's called Copaiba. And it's really popular in South America. Our farm in Ecuador is where we grow this. A lot of curanderas, a lot of the healers in South America, the shamans in South America use Copaiba. It's good for balancing out those energies. And what I do, it has like no smell, hardly at all, and hardly any taste. So sometimes I will put it, especially if I'm feeling like it's a little inflamed. I'm always feeling inflamed. I'm kind of intense like Kathy, but I'll put just a drop in a cup of warm water, make like a tea out of it. So those 2 are good for the sacral chakra, and you can ingest them. The second way to use essential oils is like what the Germans do. They diffuse it. That's the German way. So you want to like get it out in the air and it goes, I don't know if you know this, but your sense of smell is connected to the limbic part of your brain, which is where you store emotions. And this is what I've had to work on healing with my sacral chakra. Isn't that what Kathy just said? The sacral chakra is about feelings, about how you connect to others in the world. And that's why when you smell particular fragrances, it can like, boom, trigger you back into like a really unpleasant. I had, well, okay, we'll just be honest and talk about sacral chakra. I was sexually assaulted. And guess where all of the emotion from that went? Down there into my sacral chakra. And if I smell that cologne that man had on, I go right back to there. Fortunately, there are oils that you can diffuse and smell, and it will work on those emotions. And so then have a positive effect. And guess what? One of them is orange. Just think about when you peel an orange, I don't know how anybody could peel an orange and smell. That's what you smell. That's the essential oil. Those are not distilled, they're cold pressed. And don't you feel happy? I don't know anybody who smells orange and goes, dang, that just puts me in a bad mood. I mean, there's studies, there's science backing it up. Orange is one of the good oils to diffuse if you really need to work on joy, bringing some joy in there. The third way, I'm going to talk about like 4 different levels, I guess, of the sacral chakra. But the third way is to apply. Now the British apply their oils, but they dilute them. I don't know what it is about the British. Like, oh, you better put like some coconut oil on that. It's going to burn your skin. And I will say this. I do put orange on sometimes, but orange, all of the citrus oils are photosensitive. So if I drank a lot of orange water, or if I were to apply it to my skin and go out in the sun, guess what? I'm going to get a sunburn. So the Brits all are right about that. Or if you're using oils with kids, you should always dilute them. But with my sacral chakra, I'll just rub it right down there. Yeah, right there on the sacral chakra area. Also, you can put it on, if you'll just Google Vita, V-I-T-A, Flex, Vita Flex points, you can find the spots on your feet where you can apply the oils. And your feet absorb them really quickly. So you could put it on the part of your foot associated with the sacral chakra. It's toward the back of the arch is where it is. Okay, so those are the 3 ways to use them. And now let me talk to you a little bit about I divvied it up. I thought, how can I organize this talk to make it kind of quick? Okay, so problems that your clients or you might have with the sacral chakra on a physical level. So we'll just start here at the worst level. Maybe they're having really a lot of reproductive problems, or maybe they're, okay, like I mentioned, even with the emotional issues, that can cause physical issues also. So if someone is having some sort of hormonal issues, said the postmenopausal presenter, the oils I recommend for myself and for others, 2. My favorite one is Clary Sage. Clary Sage for the sacral chakra, for reproductive, hormonal, those sorts of physical issues. Clary Sage is also good for your mood. So if you've got somebody who's like struggling with mood, that's going to help with their hormones, but it's also going to help. So like hormone related mood stuff. This doesn't, well, it kind of has to do with the sacral chakra. There in 2014, there was a study in Korea where they found that inhaling, not applying, but inhaling Clary Sage, women, not men, just women, inhaling it helped with blood pressure more than anything else. So Clary Sage is amazing for female hormone issues. Another one that's good, so I would diffuse it or apply it. Another one that's good is Fennel. Now this smell kind of has to grow on you. Fennel smells like, I wish we had like scratch and sniff or something, but it smells like licorice. Okay, you know what licorice smells like? It Some people love it, like, give me all the licorice. I was like, ugh, but it's, no. Okay, I don't like fennel. But fennel it's really earthy. And it's good for also like female hormones. So that area, so the physical issues, those are my 2 top oils that I recommend for that. Then moving out from the physical, the next body, if you will, would be your mental body. Okay, this is where I needed the most help. Creativity. Kathy was talking about creativity and that card that you drew. So that's not just your physical reproduction, but it's also your mental reproduction, like coming up with new ideas, producing new things. Again, orange, I love. Cardamom, which has kind of I do like cardamom. Cardamom is a single oil that's good for if you have like a kind of mental writer's block, you're working on a class, Kathy, or something like that you really need to jar. Try orange, try cardamom, try sometimes, okay, so your chakra can be like underperforming, and sometimes it's overperforming, right? So I like to use cardamom and orange to kind of boop, boop, spruce it up a little bit when I'm like my usual state. I like to use peace and calming. And, this has orange in it. Okay, now I'm holding up some of the blends. I know not everybody does Young Living, but what I like about the Young Living blends is that the founder of the company did all this research on the individual oils, and he experimented with how to get the best effect. Like, it matters which order you put the oils in. Like if this has orange, blue tansy, patchouli, if it has those 3 oils in it, does it make a difference if you put the patchouli in first or if you put the orange in first? I mean, he was a real nut. That's how much he experimented with it. So, because it made a difference. It also made a difference if you like refrigerated an oil before you put it in with the others. So the blends are like really well researched, and they have names, so you don't have to think about it. It's like, I wonder which oil I could use to calm down. Okay. So this one worked really well. So it has patchouli, which is another single oil for creativity, is good. It has the orange, and it's blended together. When sometimes I'm not creative because I just have too much going, and I feel like and it's not just in my head, it's down in there in the sacral too, like, so I love peace and calming. In fact, I usually diffuse this with in-person clients. And okay, inner child. Okay, this is really sweet. So the name of this oil blend is Inner Child, and it has jasmine. Jasmine is another one that's really good for, it's expensive. It's a pricey oil. That's another reason I kind of like the blends. This bottle of jasmine costs $72. Can you see how small this is? And the reason it costs $72 is that to get the highest quality oil, you have to pick the flowers before the sun comes up, because as soon as the sun comes up, it starts evaporating. So, and it takes like, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I'll get my numbers wrong. It takes like okay, no, I remember. It's 1,000 pounds of jasmine petals. The flowers are like this big. 1,000 pounds to make 1 pound of oil. That's why it costs $72. Whoo, and it's super concentrated. But anyway, these, if you need to be more playful, that's what makes you creative, is like Kathy was talking about, releasing that inner child. Or when Rhonda, I was looking at those poses, Rhonda, when you said that you naturally sit in that, what was it called? Angled, what was that pose, Rhonda? Angled something.
I think pose. It was the, let me look here. It's called the bound angle pose.
Yeah, bound angle pose. I looked at that pose and I thought, that's how kids sit, So Rhonda, you probably feel more childlike with that. And I think I don't know you really well, but you seem really happy, and I think that that's probably why you naturally sit that way. So anyway, those are really, really good for sparking that creativity. Okay.
One
Kathy
thing I
said-
wanted to bring up, since you were talking about jasmine, that just dawned on me. Jasmine is a mood stabilizer for anyone that is an empath. And that is probably tied to the chakra, the sacral chakra, because empaths feel emotion.
Yes.
So it's
Thank
that
you.
connection.
Yeah, thank you.
Most empaths are very sensual beings. You know what I mean? They use all their senses and all that to bring it in. You know, it's their heart, but that's how they process.
Yeah. We're sponges. So we soak up information from all our pores, our chakras, our everything. Yeah, thank you. So a good so sometimes if that sacral chakra is overactive, then from like you're just taking in too much, then yeah, jasmine, good.
Dawn says that Clary Sage works great for menstrual cramps.
There.
What do you think about that? Isn't that pretty? And Amy loves your accents, Karen.
Oh.
just let you know, okay? I'm on it.
It brings me joy.
It brings you joy.
Yeah, I segued into that. Speaking of joy and the emotional, so physical, mental, emotional is next. Clary Sage is also good for that. Jasmine is. Patchouli releases. Patchouli is good if you are kind of overactive in the joy area. Speaking of like obsessions and addictions, patchouli is really good for calming that down. So if you feel like you've got like an overactive sacral chakra to the point that like, I don't know, just like maybe if there were a pandemic, say, and all of a sudden you found yourself eating ice cream every day, just saying maybe that your sacral chakra might get a little overactive. So patchouli is good for balancing that out. And remember I mentioned that patchouli was in the peace and calming as well. Okay, geranium is also, where's my geranium oil? Oh, here it is. Geranium is also good for emotion. It's really, I love geranium because it's not too sweet, like jasmine almost, but geranium is just balanced, but it's happy. Yeah.
Some of the products that you get for men are combined with patchouli and that.
And
so it's funny that they put those two in men's products that helps calm them.
Yeah, and thank God they do. No, I'm just kidding.
All that testosterone, they have to calm, a little bit of calm factor.
Yeah, I gotta calm that down a bit. Okay, let's see, what else did I want to talk about? I guess that's probably it on that. Oh, yeah, let's go ahead and move out then. There's not much of a distinction to me like between that emotional and spiritual, but the spiritual body. So we were talking before we started about lemongrass. Rhonda was talking about lemongrass, and lemongrass is it's good for strengthening those connections, those relationships. You know what else I've noticed since we're talking to Reiki practitioners? I've noticed that if somebody just seems to be kind of all clogged up, sometimes I'll start a session, I'll do like a little bit of lemongrass on my hand and just kind of put that through their field. And it seems like that kind of opens them up a little to receive the Reiki better. But yeah, it's really good also for psychic awareness, which I'm not psychic, but I'm just being an empath. My gosh, I don't have to use it for that much. But if you're trying to work on that, that would be a good oil to use. If you need to, speaking of males, if you need to balance like the male and the female energies, or kind of attune more to the spiritual realm, your relation. So it's about relationships, but it might be like your relationship to the divine. Ylang, which I think it may be ylang, but of course I grew up in Texas and we're like, what's that ylang stuff? But it's a flower. And it's not as pricey as jasmine or rose, but it's hard to pick too. So, oh, sorry. This isn't a lot of perfumes, but anyway, it's really good for balancing more. Rose, now all right. Speaking of expensive, it takes 22 pounds of rose petals to make this bottle of rose oil, and it's $180. So it's very precious to me. And I don't use it. Actually, I went through a whole bottle when my mother died. I use it on my heart though, for grief, but rose is one of the highest vibrating oils, and it's great for spiritual connection. Another one that's good. Oh, that smells good. Another one is sandalwood. And I have 2 sandalwoods because we have 2 different farms, and there are different species of the sandalwood tree. Sandalwood is super high in sesquiterpenes, which, never mind, I'm not going to nerd out here. Okay. Sesquiterpenes, that means it's like, you have monoterpenes, there's like 1 terpene, and those are like heavier. Higher ones really oxygenate your brain. Maybe that's why you get more of a spiritual connection. You're like, woo! But you get a good connection. I like to meditate. They use sandalwood in yoga a lot for that very reason, with the breath. So the sacred sandalwood comes from India, and they're really similar in smell. This one, I'm so proud of Young Living for this. So this is called Royal Hawaiian Sandalwood. Part of the company's mission is to conserve the earth, take care of the earth. And so there was a plot of land on the Big Island in Hawaii that had been clear cut. There was no pesticides used, but it's just been totally clear cut. So they went in and they planted sandalwood trees, and that's where this one comes from. So it's a little bit different, but they both work really well. And I don't want to talk a whole lot about blends,
Karen,
but yeah.
Does those 2 sandalwoods, is there any different properties about it? It was just environmentals, like how, you know what I mean? Like the area that they cultivate from is different. Is there any kind of
To
like,
me, if you're sensitive, that's a good question. If you are sensitive to vibration, as most Reiki practitioners are, like that's why we can scan and we feel things. Okay. Oh man, I wish you could smell it. Okay, this one, the Royal, to me, it does have a little bit different chemical constituency, which I can't rattle off to you because I don't know, but I could look it up in a book. But this one is like a little calming, a little more calming. This one is lighter. I don't know. This one's heavy. This one is more female, and this one is more male. I don't know what that means.
that's beautiful.
This one makes me turn inward. This one makes me want to reach up.
Beautiful.
So they feel different. That was a really good question. And so again, because some of these really good quality oils are so expensive, I do like to buy the blends, because some of the blends have just maybe a couple of drops of, like, orange is cheap. It's cold pressed from orange peels. Orange is super cheap. Peppermint's cheap, right? Peppermint doesn't have anything to do with the sacral chakra, but orange is cheap. Sandalwood is expensive. Rose is expensive. So these blends that I love, and this has to do with spiritual connection, your relationship there with yourself, your joy. Okay, one is called Magnify Your Purpose.
Ooh.
It's the name of the blend. It has a lot of different oils in it. Okay, I made a graphic and I put all the different oils that are in some of these blends. Kathy, I think I posted it in the event.
I actually posted it on Reiki Studio, so they got to see it.
Yeah, but I put all which oils are in these blends, so that if you don't do Young Living and you don't have this blend, you could look and see which oils have been put together and kind of give you an idea. But Magnify Your Purpose. That's part of that sacral chakra energy also.
Does Young Living, or do you know, if you did any research, somebody's asking, Dawn's asked, if different frequencies, do you know?
Yeah, so Rose vibrates at 300, the hertz, what hertz they vibrate at? Yeah, there's a man who invented a machine that would measure the vibrational frequency of different oils. And we thought Rose is at 320. Rose is 320.
Find out or something, or when you can, and we could post it in Reiki Studio.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll find that.
Difference. And she asked also, like, do you know, if you do some research, the Hawaiian versus the other, if one's a different frequency than the other or anything like that? I mean, you just
They've measured the frequency of that, but I'll look and see if I can find something out.
that'd be awesome.
They're probably, now this is just Karen Cagg talking off the top of her head, but I think because they're both from the same species of tree, I'll bet that their frequencies are similar.
Okay. I would think so too.
I mean, they're sandalwood, but they're subspecies,
Right.
just like you had. Yeah.
So it's probably environmental.
Yes, but I'll bet their frequencies are similar, but they feel different.
Right.
This one is called Build Your Dream. So that to me relates to all the oils that are in here.
Okay.
Are like a lot of the singles I've talked about, but that's about connecting to yourself, isn't it? Like your fire, your relationship with yourself, with your joy. Like, what is your dream? I mean, that has to do with your sacral. And the other one is highest potential.
Oh.
And to me, these are more on the spiritual plane, that aspect of the sacral chakra. Sacred. Yeah. Any other questions come through on the oils, or do you guys, Rhonda, I know you do a lot with the oils too, like you said about the not the lemongrass. What was the one you said? Jasmine. Thank you. Yes. Did either one of you want to contribute, or did somebody else ask a question?
Nope. No one. Nope. I just saw Rhonda watching. Moderator. She's going to ask you a question on there. No, I think it was awesome. I loved it. This is
okay.
Depth of. I understood it. I understood even the two different sandalwoods, how you were explaining how, one's more male, one's more female. You feel
it just feels that way to me.
Yeah, no, I love that. That was awesome.
But I just have to say, and I applied, especially the inner child. I can't tell you how many bottles of inner child I went through on my healing journey. But it helped. It helped a lot.
So if they have more oil questions, can they message you, PM you?
Yeah, just message. It's CAG, CAIG. Just message me on Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to bring up so people understand, and I apologize if you already said this because I wasn't sure if you did or not, is that people, a lot of people don't understand that there's a difference between essential oil and fragrance oil. So that's why it's so important to buy from a reputable company that makes their own essential oils and process it themselves, because you're getting quality oils. You're not getting fragrance oils, which can be very damaging because fragrance oils are completely different than
they're synthetic. They're not even real. Do you know that there's not even enough lavender grown on the planet to make the lavender that's sold? The vast majority of lavender oil is synthetic. It's created in a lab, and it can't. Yeah, Rhonda, you're right. It's not that it's not only that, that doesn't do any benefit to your body. It can damage your body. So it's super important. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or people say them oils don't work. It's like, well, what are you using?
Yeah.
See what you're using there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'd like to close out.
Yep.
So since we've talked about, I love this, that we went from the outside, with the grid and the things that you can do externally, then to what you can do with your body and what you can put into your body. And since the oils are kind of vibratory, I was trying to get a drink of water. Dana talked last time in part 1 about chanting.
Yep.
And I thought that we might try that all together. I know I can't see or hear you, but all of you at home, you can chant along. Dana talked about the mudra, that each chakra has a mudra, and the mudra for the sacral is you form it with your hand. You put I'm right-handed, so I put my right hand on top, and you make a little circle like this. And I like to put mine right down there with my sacral. I forgot to talk. Oh, that's bad that I put my hand down there and said, I forgot to talk about the sensation oil. I did. That reminded me, one other oil blend is called Sensation, and that goes more with the physical sexuality sort of stuff. And as I said, I just tried it out, and it's great. It's tingly. Okay. Also good for your sacral chakra. Okay, so I'm going to share some sound. Like Kathy, I think Kathy said the note for the sacral chakra is a D note, and I am not that musical. I can't just go, oh, that's a D. So I'm going to share the screen for and let you hear. This is, I found this, I really like this for chanting. It's just a droning D sound on a cello. Here, listen. Can you guys hear that? I'm going to assume that you can. So why don't you put your dominant hand on top of your non-dominant hand, make a circle. And let's just hum first. Just vibrate with the note of that sacral chakra. I can't hear it. And feel that vibrate. You might imagine the color orange. You might be diffusing one of these oils that's going to help you with that chakra. And since you're at home and no one can hear you, I want you to chant. It's Vam. It sounds sort of like Vam or Vong. I've seen it spelled V-A-M, but it sounds like Vam. Maybe give some Reiki to your throat chakra. I don't know how long you guys want to do that. I could do that for a good 20 minutes, and I think that that would be good. I could post a link to this if you want. There are also some sacral chakra chants. If you want to just listen to it, maybe you're not in a place where you can sit around other people and go, Vom. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you just want to listen. That would be good. But there's something, and I hope that you feel it. There's something to be said for doing the chanting out loud and feeling that vibration throughout your body, especially while you're focused on that sacral chakra, and whatever intention, whatever kind of, I'm going to stop, whatever kind of healing you need to do. If it's to calm it down, focus on that. If it's to get yourself out of the funk that you're in and connect to other people, focus on that. Use the oils, use the food that Rhonda talked about. Use all of it, because it's worth it. To get your sacral chakra in balance is worth it.
So we got a question, Karen, or to anybody. Does it matter what octave D we choose to do?
I don't think so. I think you could do mom, 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 mom. I think you could do, yeah.
See what it feels.
It's just that note, that particular.
What brings you joy when you do it? You know, what makes you giggle? What makes you feel looser, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel so, that's, you know what, I'm glad that she asked it, because when I did it like mom, like that, I felt like I am very calm. I am not a spastic person. And when I did it like Mom. I felt like, I am so joyful. I am a happy, happy person. So, I mean, maybe it makes a difference in, I don't know. That's just out of,
I know when I'm
pulling
toning
that out of my nose.
stuff, you know, when I'm toning and chanting, it does matter. You know what I mean? Like I could feel different kind of
Mhm.
in me, you know.
Well, it's supposed to bring out your creativity and imagination. So maybe as long as you're doing that Valm, it doesn't matter like at what pitch you're doing it, just the fact that you're doing it.
Wrong. Yeah, that's true.
That's a great question, Adam. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. You just
Yeah, see, you get that creativity going, and
get
next
that
thing
creativity. You can't stop, right? You'll be
you know, I know they're pulling out the straight jacket.
wonderful. So, do we have any last words of wisdom for everybody for our creative center?
I just really have naturally always used the essential oils in crystals with the Reiki. And so I really like how she said that how you could do it with the breath one, because that was something I was taught, that you could put the essential oils on it and like
Right.
and breathe
You don't
out
have to
in.
buy a diffuser. You can just, in fact,
Yes.
I mean, you put 10 drops in a diffuser, or you could just put like half a drop on your and go and get the same effect. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. So, I mean, I hope, whoop, here I am back. I hope all these little trade secrets, advice, suggestions helps you grow with your sacral area. If you came in on half the recording, this will come back into our Reiki Studio live feed, and you'll be able to replay it again. So you could listen to us. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. You know, respond back onto the live feed, or just give us a question in Reiki Studio. We'll try to answer it for you, you know, and hopefully our development and our growth and our connection to our sacral area continues, you know, continues with everything. If anybody in Reiki Studio has any suggestions or little things that they want to bring forth on Reiki Studio for the sacral area, please do. Let's honor it. You know, it's a great thing. And then already we're hitting March, and we're going to be working on the solar plexus. So the second Friday of the month at 10 a.m. and then the fourth Sunday of the month at 6 p.m. as where you just caught us now. We're going to be working on the sacral area. So it's going to be fun. Strength and power. Rawr, right? All right. So thank you guys very much for joining us, and we appreciate it. And just connect with us if you want to. We love you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for
you're
doing
welcome.
this.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, everyone.
Thanks.